All right, hello. We are back. And why why was it doing so much damage? Right? So we're just taking the damage amounts, right? Oh, which is 10. Wait. Hmm. Hold on, let me check something really quick. So let's stop the game. So yeah, damage amount 10, but it definitely wasn't that before, right? So what changed in the main scene? Ah, so previously we had overridden the damage amount and attack speed, and I think maybe by changing the name of the export group, that broke something. I'm not sure, but we can definitely undo this change. Excuse me. Excuse me. It's really weird though. Why would that change? So damage amount 1, attack speed 10. 10. This also like, I don't know if you noticed my hesitation when I was clicking the crates when we ran the game before the break. There was this noticeable delay where I wasn't able to click again and the X appeared for 10 seconds. I was very confused about that, but then even more so because we did so much damage. Okay, so unintentional change reverted. If we go in here and we click through the dialogue, as you do, and we unpause, maybe we should have a thing, something a little bit more obvious saying, hey, the game is paused, besides the little indicator up here. Okay, so when we do damage, yeah, it's 1 damage. So if I wanted to, I could create a new resource, and I can make the damage multiplier 2. Now, none of the other settings do anything, but I guess that doesn't take effect. I wonder. Let's restart the game then. So what I'd like to see is that with this change, we do 2 damage. Now I think that doesn't affect scrap because we have some special logic for scrap to prevent us from doing weird things. Click. Come on. It's not so hard, is it? Just click a zombie. Apparently it is really hard to click a zombie sometimes. There we go. 18, 16. Okay, we're doing 2 damage now instead of 1. So multiplier works. Yay. All right. Great. I don't actually want that. So save that. We'll see that the... okay, we got decimals here for some reason. Whatever. It's the same. It's the effect. Okay, so... I didn't write a unit test, but I tested it. Game runs identically before. It's registered usable in editor. We did see that because we tested creating a resource. Perform attack routes through the effective multiplier. Check. Okay. So this issue is done. So let's commit these changes. Add attack effect resource and enhance logic attack logic with damage calculation. Yep, sounds good. And we'll go ahead and create the branch. And we'll open the PR here. So if I this is actually kind of nice. This is added like a month or 2 ago, I think. But if you didn't like the title, or you were creating the PR and you had a bunch of commits where it wasn't just taking the title of the one commit, and you have Copilot, of course, you can click this, and it gave you. It's basically the same text as that. Sure. And then we could put a description here. But there's no. The scope of this pull request is not just the thing we did, though. Of course, the idea here is that we're going to do all the things for this issue. In fact, let me go ahead and say we're working on this. So really, this is implement click tech. Closes 3 something, 385, 385, 384, 348. Yeah, and we'll. I guess it doesn't matter again because, well, future me and people. This is a public repository, so other people could be looking at this. I will go back and add a description of the PR later. And that'll be good for like release notes and stuff later as well. Anyway, so moving right along. So do we want to implement next actually getting the attack effect applied when we unlock the tech? Maybe so. So this already has something that does not align with what I had said before, right? So the way we're doing damage stacking here in this resource with stack effect is that we're just adding them together. Now, if the damage multiplier from the attack effect is 1.25, then, which makes sense, it needs to be if it's a damage multiplier, right? Then you end up with 1 plus 1.25 is 2.25, and that's very different from gaining 25% click damage. Does that apply for other things? Let's think about that. I think not for chance. Like probability-based things are going to be This is a thing where like this code needs to align with whatever we decide to do in defining the data. They work together, right? But consistency is important here, and there's like two kind of concepts that we're conflating here that I'm kind of intentionally trying to conflate to make things simpler. So there's the idea of there's a thing and it can do damage, and what are the different stats of the damage it can do, and then there's the idea of here is a block of data about modifiers to those modifiers that can be stacked on top of each other, and I would like those things to be the same thing. So I don't want to cheat and be like, oh, well, this is an attack effect, but it's actually for the latter kind of thing. And so I will put in 0.25, even though that would be weird for the damage multiplier for the first category, right? I'd rather have the definition of these values be have the same meaning, right? So that should mean, because the player damage multiplier would be 1 or 1.25 or 1.5, then the damage multiplier in the resource that's attached to the tech should also be 1.25. So, what does that mean? What does that mean? Is this a case where we take one from one of the two things? Is that all it is? What's meaningful here? Or is it actually, we do actually want to multiply them together? Like if you have 1 and you have 1.25 and you multiply them together, you get 1.25. If we let us let's get rid of this and we are going to like work out what we want to do here, right? So we need to combine the damage multiplier in a way that makes sense. Okay, and then it's gonna write a lot of words, and unfortunately it's gonna go off the side of the thing. So let's also, is this legible on stream? Maybe if I go a little bit bigger, maybe that's better. What zoom level is this currently at? Okay, so this is not exactly, I mean, the example is good, right? If we have two effects that both increase damage by 20%, we might want to multiply the modifiers together rather than just adding them. For simplicity, we'll just add them together and then subtract one, and that is probably wrong. Here are some example approaches and their results. Multiplicative stacking. So one of the things I want here is this, express this in terms of percentages. So that's 150% and 150% increase is a 300% increase. That is kind of, well, it's not 150%. It is 50. It is base damage. This is where the -1 comes in, right? Because you're thinking of this in terms of the base damage is 100%. And then if you and then there's already a 50% increase on it. That's why there's 1.5 damage for the left-hand side. And then you're stacking another 1.5 damage. So that is 150%. Well, it's a 50% increase, actually. Right? So it is a plus 200% damage, 300 total, right? Okay, forget all this. Let's do. Just trying to think of like how I want to frame this to think about this the right way. Example A. It's not effect B, it's other. Okay. Let's focus on kind of the implications of one way of doing this, and then we'll look at the implications of a different way of doing this, and then we'll figure out what makes sense, and then we'll implement what makes sense, right? So example B, what I want to have is I want to have an example where the base is 1x damage, and then the other is our actual example of 1.25 times damage. Combined is 2.25 damage, right? We don't want that. So this is wrong, right? It's not what it's just the base damage plus 25% increase, but that's not what. So additive stacking is that Okay, so the issue, the confusion I'm having right now is that I have expressed things in percentages that are not true, right? So this is accurate, right? It's the 100% plus another 125% because, okay, I got it. So remember how I said I wanted to say that the resource, the attack effect resource, the values in it would always mean the same thing, whether no matter which side they are on, whether they are the base or the thing that's being stacked on. So my point of confusion before was thinking of still thinking about it could not be that and the value could be 0.25 on the right hand side, and then just like not having that locked in, and then like not having that locked in means that then there's like two ways of thinking about it, plus thinking about it in terms of like additive or multiplicative or something else. So if we're saying that the values mean the same thing no matter which side they are on, then these numbers are true, right? On the left hand side it's 1.5, on the right hand side it's 1.5. You add them together because we're looking at an additive approach, right? It's 3, right? So then it's 150% plus 150% is well, it's 300%. So this doesn't work. It's not at all intuitive when we've already agreed that we want to express things the way we want to express things. Now we could backpedal on that, but I'm not ready for that. I want to look at what if we multiplicate it. What if we just took the damage multipliers together, multiplied them together, and then took that result. Now what I'm interested in is when we look at the percentages, what this does. So do I believe this? So if we have 1.5 on the left and we have 1.5 on the right, 1.5 times 1.5 is it, did AI do math right? Is it 2.25? It's 1.5 and then half of 1.5. Half of 1.5 is 0.75. So yeah, 2.25. Yeah, that's right. So expressed as percentages, right? So we have a base, we have our normal damage 100%, but the base has an additional 50%. So why am I so obsessed with this like percentage math thing here? Is because I think for it to be intuitive how the things stack, you have to be able to express it as percentages. And ideally, like the ideal case would be the math would be nice, and you would be like, oh, I've already gotten 125% damage multiplier from unlocking this tack. If I get this other thing, then I will get X percentage more, or like it will be percentage points, right? When we're adding things together, we're not talking about percents anymore. We're actually talking about percent points. Anyway, why does the music stop sometimes? I don't know. I think it's there. It's fully quiet. Okay, anyway. So does this work? No. Hey, Firago. This is GD script, which is the programming language for the Godot game engine. Yep. But this is not a 150% increase. This is a 50% increase. Is it? That's. I mean, we already said that this expressed would be 50%. Or 150%. Yeah, here? Okay, so of course this isn't a programming language at all. This is just me commenting, kind of thinking out loud, and with the assistance of some words to keep track of my thoughts. No, this doesn't make sense. That's why I didn't want to do multiplicative stacking here for the effect, because then I do. Okay, let's think about this. So let's just think about a new approach. In fact, forget all this percentage stuff. I think we don't even need to see that to understand the problem. So additive stacking of the increase. What's the ultimate goal and work back maybe? Yeah, so that might be challenging. Basically, in the game, we have a tech tree. You have the ability to fight zombies. The zombie coming in over here, and you can click them to do damage, right? So I did 1 damage. In the tech tree, there are supposed to be techs that will let you do more damage and do different kinds of damage and have other kinds of effects. And so they'll do things like increase player click damage by 25%. Now, I don't have a lot of text right now, but I think my intent is going to be, once I fix the UI to not be trash, to have like an actual proper text tree and have a bunch of texts with different, bonuses and things, and they'll stack on top of each other. The question is, how do they stack, right? If you get 25% increased damage and then you get another 50% increased damage, how much damage are you doing? Like if you started with 1 damage and you get a 25% increase, you're doing 1.25 damage. If you get a 50% increase on top of that 25, should be what? And that's what I'm trying to nail down, is how it should work. No. So that's only the start of the game, right? The idea is you have to earn doing more. You only have to click at the very beginning until you get earn, right? So you can see here, hey, look, there's in the UI can use improvements where this is very, very early days, just the first 9 months or so. But there will be things you can collect in the world, but also by defeating zombies, you can get scrap, and that will let you unlock techs like the scrap shooter. So we can build a turret, except I don't have any scrap anymore because I just spent it. So let me kill some more zombies. All right, let's build a turret. Now, I think there's a lot I need to do with balancing of the game in terms of like what the turrets do and how the zombies behave and those sorts of things. But the danger here, and we also need effects on like, hey, the zombies are hitting the car, you can hear it. but like the car doesn't shake. You just see the health bar coming down. But yeah, we lost. The zombie ate the survivor. Game over. We survived for 1 minute and 9 seconds. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on. All right, cool. So how does this work? Additive stacking of the increase, right? So we have our existing damage, and then we take the new damage and we subtract 1 from it. So the base damage would be, in this example, if we already have 150% because we get like a 50% bonus, and then we got another 50% on top of that. How does the math work on that, right? It's 1.5 plus 1.5 minus 1, 2x damage. So we have 150% damage, we get 50% more damage, that's additive, 200%. Yeah? So how does that work if we have 100% damage and we're getting the modifier to give us 25%? So yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm fairly convinced that approach 3 is what I want. And that was a lot of words, a lot of grief over the thing that was already suggested like 20 minutes ago. Anyway. The chance stuff I'm pretty sure is right. I think the crit multiplier, we have to do the same thing here. Let me just add the comment here for multipliers. For chance probability properties, we said simply add them together. Yep. Do that. And then enabled radius hops. Okay, there aren't any other multipliers here. It's these two. Great. A lot of thinking for a little thing. Okay, so what do? Let's actually implement this to demo being able to unlock a tech that gives you damage increase. I don't know if it should be 25%. It feels kind of minor, but it'll be something. Okay, so let's commit this change. Okay. And then what do we want to do? We want to create a new T-res with damage multiplier 1.25. So create a new resource. It's going to be our attack effect. This is going to be, we're going to name this based on the tech unlock. So this will be like tech, hydraulic. It's not how you spell hydraulic. I can rename it. Mouse. It's that. But yeah, there's the word. Hydraulic. No thanks. There we go. Hydraulic mouse. Get rid of that one. Okay, so all that we need to do here is we need to set the damage multiplier to 1.25. That's that. Then update config tech clk hydraulic mouse.tres to reference the new effect. So I think this is missing a step because I don't think we can just do that. Let's go look at config tech tree. CLK hydraulic mouse. So we have a bunch of things in here. Like we have display name for the tech tree. We have description and icon and branch. This is like the category for the tech. And level requirements and these sorts of things. I think I might lower the level requirements here as well for this. But what we need to do is we need to add a new property to the resource to be able to then add the attack effect to it. So in tech tree, there should be a script. Well, we haven't done AoE yet. Well, that's not even implemented. We just have placeholder where values would go. We've not, like, there's nothing that's doing AoE damage yet. And that's one of the things of, like, knowing to not try to solve problems you don't need to solve yet. What's wrong? So for the tech node resource, no worries. I think I want to add a new category. Ooh, maybe I can use this effects category. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to add a new thing here called attack effects. Don't use the word towers here. Attack effects applied when this tech is unlocked. Well, it's interesting. I think I will make this a little bit more specific than this. We'll call it player attack effects, right? So attack effects that are applied to the player when this tech is unlocked. And we can have an array of them. Is there any reason not to have an array? I don't think it's needed to have an array. I think it can just be one. Builts for towers. Yeah. I went through a bunch of different names for the stuff that you can build in the game. So like obstacles, because the main thing I think initially was like, oh, I can build walls throughout the zombies and the zombies will pathfind around. And then I was like, oh, well, I want to also actually, like, this is a tower defense game. I want to have towers. So I had obstacles and towers, but I needed a generic term to use in the game for all things. So I just called them all buildings, just to like have a general category. Okay, so we have this. This will let me then edit over here the effect. There we go. Okay, so hydraulic mouse, now player attack effects. So what I can do is I can create one in place. I could do that. Or, well, here's the thing. So I made that TRES file to have the details of the effect. Does that make sense to do versus just defining it in line here and not in a separate file? I don't know. But I've already done one, so we'll just keep on. Let's keep on doing that. There we go. So I have the file, and I'm just linking to the file from here. So that's part of the chain of making this work, right? So we have defined the data, we have linked the data together. Now we need to make it so that when you unlock the tech, it actually applies this to the player. Which maybe I have some notes about how we want to do that. So we've done that. Also, author placeholder TRES effects. I will do that at some point. We'll come back to that. Were we not? Add attack effect field. So tech node and connect tech tree manager signals. Add the attack effect export to tech node. Resource tech node and wire. I think maybe I did these out of order. Yeah, this is the thing that I just did, right? Where I changed this one, tech node resource. And we added a new export. Player attack effects. I'm going slightly off of the plan here. because I think this will be a better thing. And then if we ever have, for some reason, a tech that changes, gives other attack effects to things, which probably we'll want, maybe that'll be like building attack effects, right? I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about that quite yet. So we have done this. Pull these both over here because I think we have to kind of do both of these for this to make sense. So we've done that. In player input controller, connect to the tech unlocked signal and tech locked signals. We don't. Is there a tech locked, or is that hallucination? That's weird. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is not like unwinding things. This is if we go down one of the branching paths in the tech tree, the other path is then locked off, and that's what that signal is about. I should probably add a comment explaining that. Emitted when a tech becomes permanently unlocked due to mutual exclusivity. Emitted when a tech is successfully unlocked. There we go. Good. Okay, so I think let me edit this. So we don't need to do anything on tech locked. That's not a thing. Scan unlock tech trees to restore any active effect. Okay, add the attack effect export and wire tech tree manager signals into player input controller. What scene ready is this referring to? And do I want to do that there? Like I have a separate thing to here we go, for save load persistence. Let's see, it's more for testing it, isn't it? So where are we going to scan Tech Tree Manager for unlocked tech IDs and apply effects? That feels like something that the Tech Tree Manager should do itself. Maybe on load. You know what's helpful sometimes? There's this cool feature that I never use called outline, and it provides an outline. So just about all of the managers, these little auto loads that load when the game starts, have these methods that the save manager interacts with for loading and saving the game, right? So here, I wonder if we can do the logic to apply effects from here. Right, because we're not emitting a signal. And I don't know that... So the thing I'm thinking about, right, is that, so we have player input controller, which is not that file. That's the UID file for it. Here's player input controller. And this is where we might want to put the code that will accept the signal from the Tech Tree Manager and will do stuff to the player attack, right? We have the handle to the attack. We can do that. And so like in ready, we do something like tech tree manager connect tech unlocked. It's not how you connect signals anymore. There we go. Yeah, and of course this is not defined yet, so we have to define this. Yeah, just pass for the moment. And let's see, is that the correct set of arguments? Yeah, tech ID. Okay. Let's think about this. Where's this called from? From here, from unlock tech. Like what I wouldn't want to do is try to reach to the player and the player attack from this code in tech tree manager. That would be like, it doesn't know how to even find that node. And I don't want it to have to know how to do that. That's what the signal is for, to emit it. One thing that we could do is pass additional information with the signal, besides just the tech ID. I think we can get the tech from the tech ID though, so yeah, get tech node. So we can do that, right? So we can say var node, var tech node, tech tree, get tech node. There we go. Okay. And then if tech node dot, what do we call it? Player something? Player attack effects? If there is, well, it's not a list. Also, it shouldn't be called effects. I called it that because that was what was suggested, and I just accepted it without thinking. Should be that. We're just gonna break something. Let's fix that. Okay, let's go. There we go. We'll select. There we go. Okay, that's fixed. So if there's an effect, then we want to do attack dot so the attack has a rein it in. I don't know about the other stuff, but this one so far, like the name for the game so far anyway, is called Nom Defense. Let's see, somewhere I have the itch.io page for it. That's the dashboard, but let's see where. Let's see, there we go. This is the game page on itch.io for it. It is downloadable right now. There's a lot to do before it's in a state where I would be comfortable saying, yeah, it's a publishable game. But that's why we're working on it, to make it better. Just takes time. Okay, so the problem I was thinking about is that the player input controller knows about the attack component. It has a handle to it, but the attack then has this attack effect. And yeah. Okay, so then we have this calculate damage amount. Like what we need to be able to do is get to this attack effect on the attack. Sure. I mean, I don't know that's true, right? So think about all the early access games, I think is kind of the counterpoint to that. And it's on itch.io now. If you wanted to, you could go to itch.io and you could actually pay money for this demo game. I don't know why you would, but that is an option. I'm just thinking whether I think we'll keep it simple, right? So I'm just gonna reach in and do stack effect. There we go. We'll just do this. I think I could make a method on attack that like does some of this so that we're not leaking all these details here about like reaching into the thing and reaching into the thing. But I think I'll just try to keep this a little bit simpler. And we'll do that. So when a tech is unlocked, we will apply the effect from the tech onto the player if such a thing exists. So that's all well and good, but what if we load a game where we've already unlocked techs? Well, I guess the question is, when we unlock a tech, or when we load the game, you're gonna go to lunch? All right, well, have a good lunch. So when we load data, could we just emit the signal that the tech is unlocked? Or would that be not good? Is there a good way to, I guess if we just search for tech unlocked in the code base, and ignore documentation, what listens to the signal, right? So the tech tree UI listens for the signal. Excuse me. The building registry listens to the signal. I don't know why on tech locked. That's not necessary. I'm gonna remove that. And then in the manager, we emit the signal. It seems like, I think the only thing would be if we load the game and there's a bunch of unlocked text, we're gonna emit the signal a bunch of times. I think the other thing I could do is I could redefine the signal where it's a list of tech IDs. And so we emit the signal with a list of here's all the texts that were unlocked. And then it's on you to receive the signal and loop over it. I think that only is a thing we need to care about if the overhead of like the signaling and calling the function overhead is sufficient. But I don't think it is. How many texts should we possibly have in this game? 100? 1,000? I don't think it matters. And what we'll need to do, and I think there's probably a placeholder item in the backlog for later down the road before publishing, is to like profile and look for hotspots. And this is not going to be it. And if it is, well, that's why we profile. Anyway, I think what I want to do, and we'll see if this has unintended consequences, but I think what I'm going to do is that when we add a tech ID to unlock tech IDs, we will emit the signal, the unlock tech unlocked. There it is. Dot emit tech ID. Okay. I think the so the save manager was responsible for calling that method that we just changed. So like when we're looking here at load data, there's something in save manager that calls load data, right? In load save slot. I guess the question is going to be, is this going to work? So what calls load save slot besides initialize default slot? Oh, hey, here's a document with a diagram. We like diagrams. Even more so if they're accurate. Uh-oh, diagram's busted. That's too bad. Okay, well, never mind then. So we have tests. We have save slot selection. Load game. Let me go back to the main menu. I'm just thinking that this isn't going to work because this is not going to exist at the point when the tech tree manager emits the signal for things. Let's also, it occurs to me that a good thing to have, I don't want to sidetrack myself, so I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm going to create an item to do this later. Add debug button to complete the level or to kill all enemies. I think that'll be more flexible. Right, so we have a debug button that gives us scrap and one that allows us to unlock tech. We'll also want one to just kill all the enemies on the map in the scenario that are active. And we'll put this in our current milestone. That'll help for testing. Yeah, lots of messages about things that were we were saving things and things weren't quite right, but should be fine. So how do I test this? I guess what I need to do is I need to play the game. Oh no, I have to play the game. Play the game, and because we don't have a... Oh, we do. We haven't played a game where we've actually completed the level, it looks like. We can play the test scenario, but that is has a huge wave of zombies, I think. We could change it, but it's going to be easy enough to... What I want to do is I want to unlock some tech. We got cedar here for this run. I need to do better. So you can stun lock the enemies in terms of their movement, but once they're in range of a thing to attack, hitting them does not stop them from hitting you. So we'll go to the tech tree again. We will unlock the scrap shooter. I guess let's also test unlocking hydraulic mouse. So now we are doing 1.25 damage, which is super not noticeable, but there you go. We can also theoretically place a turret. Things are not going well for me here. That's right. Get hung up on the turret. Man, imagine me having to play the game. Such a burden. Okay, we're doing it. Ooh, all right, we beat it. Okay, and it just brings you back to the main menu. We should do something better there. Okay, so now if I start the game and I go to here and I pause. So one thing, this did populate the hotbar with the things we've unlocked. Can we see if we look in the running game? We'll go and look at attack, and we'll look at the attack effect. It is only 1.0. So it is not 1.25, which was what it would be if things had worked the way I was hoping they would work. I think I need to add some logging to the game to see kind of the order of events, right? So like here we'll do mylogger.info, tech unlock, checking for attack effect. We'll do that there. And we will also add a logger here so we understand when this happens. I don't need all of those things. Okay, there we go. And we might need some other logs, but we got to take a break here. So I'll be back in 3 minutes and we will continue testing this.